I hope here logs, error log, access log. Okay, this access log will tell you when somebody try to access this particular server, and error log will put information when there is an error. So this is again important. So you have to find this location. Where is your error log? If you don't know where this error log is, you cannot trace out an error. So error log. You can change this folder too. If you change this particular location to somewhere else, yeah, it stores over there. Okay, that is error log, and most probably that's all I guess. So yeah. So here again, error document is like you see 404 not found, okay, or 404 500. So these are the error codes. So it again has that, like if you want error documents, you can do that too. Okay, so that's what I feel like important in our Apache server file. Lines which I really feel are important. So it has all the documentation here. It says what is server root. Server root is the top of the directory T under which the server's configuration error log files are kept. So it is not commented. It's open. So that means it reads it. Okay. Then port. It says listen, allows you to bind Apache to specific IP addresses and port instead of default. See also virtual host. Virtual host is a different thing. I will see later. So port number. So this is all. These are all important over here. Alright. So that is about Apache, and the next thing we will jump into is PHP folder. So it's much of the same. So PHP, you go to PHP, and it's outside. There is a file called php.ini. See here. So httpd.conf. This is Apache configuration file, and for PHP configuration file, it's php.ini. So I'll just write it here, the configuration files. So Apache is in conf folder in Apache conf httpd.conf, okay, and PHP configuration is in php/php.ini. Okay, so why do we really need these configuration files? Yeah, for a fresher, let's assume for a fresher these are of no importance actually, because a fresher will be indulged in coding a lot than setting these configurations. But yeah, sometimes I'll tell you, in most of the times, not sometimes, most of the times, these PHP freshers will end up in working individually. Like you won't find any seniors, or you won't find anybody to help you. So whenever you feel it difficult to trace an error, let's assume in starting a server or in something, first place you are supposed to look at is these files. So whenever you have an error in doing something, so these are the files where you can possibly find a solution. Alright, so that's the reason these are important. So unless if you have a senior at your workplace, let's say, then you don't really need these configuration files. Or if you are hosting it with third party, let's say, okay, the third party guys will help you out how to trace out that particular error regarding to the configuration files. Okay, so php.ini, much of the same. The best way to do this is explore by yourself. So what I really do, how I try to figure out this is like, if I find this, here the comments are column here. So when I started learning, I used to just Google this. Okay, what is Y2K compliance? On it says. What does it mean? Okay, then I try to figure out in that way. Like I open the configuration file. So what is this? Output buffering, it says. What is 4096? So this is how I used to figure out the configuration files. I know where the configuration files are, but I don't know the terminology inside it. But yeah, it's better to have an idea of configuration files where they are. So if you really want to explore, just you have your best friend. Google is your best friend to do it. Like Or I've told you guys about about the website php.net. Okay, this is where see, I'll show you guys how to do it. Like, let's say this particular thing. Let's take this one. I just push it here and say, give me the first thing, security and safe mode under here, right? This is how we gotta figure out, like, how it can be helpful. This website is really helpful. This is the only place where you can find some serious answers about PHP. No other website has this amount of information on PHP. This is the official website of PHP where you can possibly find everything about PHP. Everything about PHP. Okay, so that's how you have to explore new things. Like, if you're really interested in doing this, yeah, go ahead and start exploring this php.ini file. So here, the important ones I say is, I'll only list out the important ones. The maximum execution time, it says the maximum execution time of each script in seconds, it says. So what happens, like, after this time, say suppose if the execution time exceeds this, it stops execution and says, hey, it's too big to, or it's taking too much time to execute. You see sometimes these errors on the servers, it's because of the maximum execution time limit over there. Right? Then memory limit, it says. So it's a maximum amount of memory a script may consume. So 128 MB. So this is what I say is, you guys heard hear about these processors, right? The memory is nothing but the processor memory. So it says, okay, this is the amount of memory, CPU memory, which it takes to execute a particular script. So if it exceeds this, it throws out an error saying, hey, memory limit exceeded. Okay, and this is another important error reporting, okay, which we'll be seeing. Okay, you can find a lot of information in this INI file itself, like what exactly each line does. See, they have really documented it very well. I seriously feel like no other language exclusive documentation as PHP. Okay, so display errors. It says, what does display errors do? Display errors says, like, do you want to display errors on the browser itself? If you set it to off, it won't display. Okay, if you set it to stderr, it writes to a file. If you set it to on, it displays errors. Okay, again they say it in development. While you are developing, keep it on. When you go to production means when you go live. When people really access your website, make it off, because people should not see those errors. One more important thing, the users are not supposed to see any errors on the browser itself, because the information which the errors display, it's very confidential one. If anybody knows about it, they can hack your website. Okay, so log errors. Do you want to log the errors? Yes, I want to log the errors. I want to see what PHP errors are happening on my website. What kind of errors is throwing out. So log them again. Log is nothing but store them in a file. So again, maximum length is 1024, it says. So 1024, this much the it says maximum length of log errors. Ignore repeated errors. Yeah, ignore them. What it says, like, you can really explore it all by yourself. Like, everything is understandable over there. Okay, so most of the things are not really needed. Again, this is error log. So we have seen the Apache error log. Here we have seen the PHP error log. It's inside logs, PHP underscore error log. So whenever you feel like there's an error on the website, here it gets logged. And what else? And it's a really big file here. And this is one more important parameter. Okay, which really I feel like you can explore all by yourself when you really have a problem. Okay, I assume you guys know about forms here.